I'm Bonnie Marquette, and this is how to build a DIY tabletop macro studio for under $10. So this is my desk where I do my tabletop photography. I'm lucky enough to have big windows behind me to let a lot of ambient light in, and as you can tell, we live in the woods and have lots of animals, including my assistant here. This is Rishu, my yellow-naped parrot that you'll hear chirping throughout this quick little lesson. Basically, all you need to do a tabletop macro studio is really 3 pieces of cardboard. Now these are cardboard insets that you get for 11 by 14 prints, where you put the print on top, then you put the print with the cardboard behind it into the plastic sleeve, and you use it for either display or exhibition or what have you. So we're going to take these 3 pieces of cardboard. They probably cost, the cheaper ones, $1 a piece. You can use really anything, but as long as they are pure white, this is what you're going to use to start with. You take these 3 pieces, and we're just going to tape them together. So we've got our 3 pieces of cardboard laid out. So we're going to take some shipping tape. You can get this at the dollar store for about $1.50, $2. And I'll take a piece, lining the boards up. Take another piece. Then we're just going to take our pieces and pick them up, bend them in slightly. And you have the beginning of your desktop macro studio. You just have a few more things to finish, and I'll show you why we're doing this. So we have our tabletop studio almost completed. We have the 3 panels of the cardboard, roughly $3 so far invested. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add another piece of cardboard, same size, as our bottom. And we're also going to change some things up in a little while. So here is the beginning of the tabletop studio. Our subject, or our object that we're going to be shooting today, is going to be a peacock feather that was so graciously donated by my peacock, Indy. And we're going to be hitting the feather with light and getting some hopefully great macros of it. Now some other things that we're going to use is, this is a clamp. Now this is a photography clamp. You can also get these clamps at Home Depot for $1, 50 cents, whatever. So we're going to need a clamp to hold the feather in place. Now here's a tip when you're shooting flowers. I take a straw, a regular drinking straw. I cut it off to a couple of inches. That's about 3 or 4 inches. I insert, if this was the stem of a flower, I insert this into the stem, and what that does is it protects the flower from being crushed by your clamp. So we'll take the clamp on the bottom and set it. And now we're starting to get somewhere. I'll move it a little away from the background. So we're almost ready to shoot. Now we need a light. The light, in this case, which is extremely simple, you can get these at the dollar store or at Home Depot or something like that. You can get these for roughly less than $1. Sometimes they sell them for 25 cents, 50 cents. So you can see that this little bitty light doesn't put out a whole bunch of light. We're going to be adding some more lights, but to keep it under our $10 range, this is all we're going to use for right now. We're going to illuminate the feather at different angles. Maybe even try behind, in front, from the bottom, the side. And these panels on the side, although this light is not very strong, so obviously it's not going to bounce a lot of light onto our subject. However, they are acting as reflectors that are picking up the light from the windows and from the overhead lighting above my desk too. So they're actually illuminating this peacock feather more than you realize. But for right now, we're just going to stick with this setup to keep it under 10, and then we're going to start adding some other cool accessories and start building a really neat tabletop studio. So I have the feather in place, the camera in place. I have my camera on a tripod. For those of y'all that are wondering, I have a lot of cameras, but this is my Canon 5D Mark II with the Tamron 90mm macro lens, and I absolutely love this lens. So I'm on manual focus. I have my feather pretty close. We're going to try to get some nice close-up shots. So all I'm going to use is this little tiny 50-cent LED light. I also have my camera on a timer too, so I can, when I hit my shutter button, then I can back off and the camera can take the picture, because I have it. I'm shooting wide open at 2.8, and I'm at 1/25th of a second at 200 ISO. I do like to slightly underexpose, because I think that when you underexpose by a half a stop or a stop, it makes the colors a lot richer and more vibrant to me. That's just my preference. So let's see what we get. So I'm lighting up the middle of the feather. And I move my light, so I'm going to try it one more time. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to side light, which is kind of cool looking. So we're getting some pretty good results. But now, if we want to go experiment even further and add some more fun bells and whistles and toys, this is one thing, and now we're going over our $10 limit, but that's okay. This is an LED bank light. This is made by Newer. You can get them. They're very inexpensive. It doesn't come with the tripod. This is a little tabletop tripod that I purchased for it, but this little LED bank light is really cool. It's adjustable, has all these LED bulbs. I believe they are daylight balanced as well, because it's made for photography. And the neat thing about this, it's portable, obviously. And again, since it is adjustable, you can do a little bit of light, some fill light if you want. You can do blast it if you want. So we'll take this LED light. And now it's really going to start to bounce off this other side too. And really, you're going to have your light refraction is going to go, and it's going to hit this back panel over here and start to light the back and the side of our peacock feather. So we're going to get in pretty tight here. And underexposed by about a half stop. So now we're going to change it up and change the color of our background. This is a piece of black foam core board that you can get at a hobby store. You can even use a black poster board, anything black really, that I've just cut to fit into this 11 by 14 area. And of course, now that we have a black background, we're probably going to have to slow down the shutter speed, increase, because I want to keep my aperture where it is. I want to shoot it wide open. But we'll see. We're going to spotlight again with our little 50-cent light. There we go. Went down to about 1/20th of a second. And now those colors are really, really popping on this peacock feather. So we don't have to just use black. We can get really creative. This is a piece of reflecting fluorescent or iridescent poster board that I found at the dollar store for, I believe it was 75 cents. And I thought it was really unique. And the interesting thing is, as you move the light, the colors change. It goes from orange to green to yellow to all sorts of weird things. I've gotten some pretty cool results using this little piece of board. It comes in a big sheet just like a regular poster board does. But it really adds another dimension to the subject that you're shooting, because it, depending on how you move this board, right now I have green as the background, but if I move it slightly, now I have orange. So we'll do, or a combination of both. So we're going to do green, and I'm going to show you all these images that I'm shooting when we're done. We'll do a little spotlight on the bottom of our peacock feather. And this really changes the whole dynamic. We'll change it a little more. And that's pretty neat looking. Now, if you don't have any of this, you can use pretty much anything. This is a manila mailing folder. That's all that is. Again, get them at the dollar store. You can get them in a box of 10 for probably $2 or $3. That can be your background. It's now kind of a flat orange. I'll move my light around just a little bit here. And even that's pretty interesting. Just a flat orange background. So your background can be absolutely anything. Now, you can also add other tools. This is one of my favorites. This is called, you can get it in frame here. This is called a third hand. These things are really cool. And they're used by photographers, they're used by jewelry makers and people that work on jewelry, people that solder. And you can get these on Amazon for about $30, I believe. Some come, this is a full model, if you will. It's got 2 alligator clamps, and these things will break or crush a stem on a flower very easily. And almost all of them come like this. This one also comes with a really cool LED light that I've used to illuminate flowers, and we'll use it on the feather. And it also comes with a magnifying glass, which is a little dirty right now. But I have used this, and all of this is adjustable too. You can move these things wherever you want. If I can get them done. Let's see. Let me try this one. There we go. So all of the slides, these are really, really cool to use for macro. Okay, so we have our peacock feather in place. We have it in front of the magnifying glass with this little LED light as a little spotlight. We have our LED banks that are over it. I've got it zoomed in extremely close, but this time I'm going to shoot at f8 since it is at such a close angle, or since it is at such a close distance. And also I turned the feather a little bit of an angle, and I want to get a little more depth of field. So let's see what type of image we can get. And that's really, really cool looking. Get it down just a little bit. Okay, with a couple of different depths. These are really pretty extraordinary. So this magnifying glass just adds a different type of dimension. This little LED spotlight really, really brightens up the center of this peacock feather, which you'll see. I'm going to add this our small 50-cent LED light as a spotlight, maybe over the top. Let's see. Is that right there? And that looks really awesome. So this is one really cool tool that you can get that's fairly inexpensive, and that is the third hand. I love these things. I use them in my macro all the time for flowers, all sorts of different things. Now, if you get serious about macro, here's another thing that you can add to your arsenal. This is a focusing rail, and it mounts on your tripod, just like you would mount anything on your tripod on the top. You mount your camera on, and this thing will move horizontally and vertically in the smallest of increments. Very, very small. So you can take a picture, move a small increment, take another picture, move a small increment, etc., etc. And this is really useful when photographers do what's called focus stacking, where you take the same image, say of this peacock feather, say you take 20 images and you're shooting at a wide open aperture, but you want the entire thing to be in focus. So you can take this, put it on your tripod, and move in increments if you're shooting diagonally or however you're shooting. Move this thing in increments so it gets closer and closer and closer without moving your subject at all. And then you take all of those frames, put it into Photoshop or some other photo processing software. They make some for this in particular for focus stacking. And the best one that I like is called Heliocon Focus Pro, I believe. And it'll take all of those images, it'll combine it and make it into one image that is completely in focus from the beginning of this feather to the end, and it's pretty awesome. These things run, they're pretty cheap. They're anywhere from about probably $25 to $50 depending on the brand and the quality. This one's steel, mainly steel, some plastic. So this is a fairly decent one, but it's still inexpensive. It's about 40 bucks, I think. So the last thing we're going to talk about, and we'll just put our little peacock feather over here somewhere. Pull him up. If you want to invest in better lighting, it still doesn't have to be extremely expensive. This little LED light bank is really cool. I really love using it. This is, let's see what shot that gets. That's strictly using this little LED light. That's pretty cool. But if you want to get even more invested in your lighting, these things, this is from Cowboy Studio. These are light stands. They're daylight balance bulbs. You can get a set of 2 on a stand with a bulb, and you can get umbrellas separately, I believe, but you can get 2 of these for about $50. And this really bounces a lot of light onto this peacock feather, and it's really illuminating the gold. And now I can use a faster shutter speed because I have more light, although it doesn't really matter since I'm on a tripod. However, it really, really picks up the gold in this peacock feather. And so you can use a combination of all of this. But getting back to our, move this light away. Getting back to our initial premise, that to get started, turn this off. You have 4 sheets of board, whatever board, mat board, whatever board you want to use. You have a clamp from Home Depot for 50 cents. You have an object that I would assume costs nothing, whatever it is you're shooting. And you have a 50-cent little LED flashlight. So we've done all the fancy dancy stuff. And we'll go back to shooting with our under $10 setup. So it may not be as creative and fancy and artistic as, say, using this, or using this third hand, using the extra lights, although, like I said, this only cost $1, so we'll add that in. Let's do one with that. Because you're still under your $10 budget. We'll light it up with our little cheapy flashlight. Oh, this is really cool. Take our picture. This looks almost psychedelic. That's a little close to the background, so I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. Get a tripod set. This is really, really awesome. And again, spotlight, our cool psychedelic background. As y'all can tell, that was a really, really slow shutter speed because I am still shooting at 8, so let me go down to about 3.5. Underexposed by half stop, spotlight. And that's really neat looking. So you can do all sorts of things. You can get all sorts of looks, all sorts of effects, and not spend over $10. Or you can get fancy dancy and get your lights and get your third hand. And even with all of that, with all of this added, you're still under $100 and you have a tabletop macro studio in your house.